The PlayStation Store has two pretty sizable sales running right now with the totally digital sale as well as the EA Publisher sale. So in this video, I wanted to highlight 10 great PlayStation 4 game deals on PSN under the price of $10. Now, a lot of you guys were a little bit underwhelmed with both of these sales. However, there are some hidden offers that I think you guys should really check out. If you don't own the game, some of these titles, of course, you own. But I think there's something for everyone across these two sales. With the EA Publisher sale, I'll get to that after the deals of the totally digital sale, but of course, EA Access is now available on the PlayStation 4. That's something I have to reiterate whenever I talk about EA deals, but you can sign up for that $30 a year, and that'll give you access to all of those games. As long as you keep your duration, you'll get some other benefits as well. I know some of you guys don't want to tack on another subscription service, and you just want to own your games outright, but I did want to make note of that. We've got 5 deals from each sale, so without further ado, let's get right into it, and let's kick things off with arguably Telltale Games' best title. The Wolf Among Us is 50% off for $7.49. Guys, I love The Wolf Among Us. It was such a great story-driven adventure that really kept me hooked start to finish, and I played numerous Telltale games. I played all of the Walking Dead titles, I played Tales from the Borderlands, the Batman games, and the Batman games are on sale as well. But Wolf Among Us is on another level with its storytelling. One of the most engaging main characters in here as well. And just a very mature and gritty story with a lot of depth to its elements that are presented as well. I should note that unfortunately there was going to be a sequel to this game, but with the status of Telltale right now, who knows if that's ever going to come to fruition. We know that in the near future it's not happening. However, The Wolf Among Us still offers a quality experience as a standalone game, and for $7.49 I would definitely check it out. Alright, next up, here's a game that I think everybody should absolutely buy if they are into Metroidvania titles. Guacamelee II is seeing a significant discount. It's 66% off for $6.79. Guys, I cannot say enough good things about Guacamelee 2 if you're into Metroidvanias. It's a very charming game. It's not dark in presentation, but it's got a very colorful art style, and the gameplay is great all the same. Head back to the Mexiverse in a long-awaited sequel to the smash hit Guacamelee. The first one was really good, but the second one is on another level. Uppercut your way to victory across stunning new handcrafted levels featuring a dense and colorful world, new luchador moves, sassy new bosses, twice the enemies, and so much more. The game was given an 84 on Metacritic, and I honestly think that's a little bit underrated. It's an epic adventure, very funny. You've got cooperative play in there as well. Drop in, drop out, 4-player local co-op through the entire story. So a lot to like out of this one. At the full $19.99 price point, I can see why some would be a little bit hesitant. At $6.79, it is such a good buy, so I would highly recommend it. Alright, next up, here is a franchise I always seemingly go to bat for. I don't know if some of you guys have been annoyed by this, but the Banner Saga is 80% off for $4.99. That's for Banner Saga 1. Of course, this is a trilogy of games encompassing Banner Saga 1, 2, and 3. You can get the entire trilogy for the price of $19.99, which is decent. The first game is $4.99, the second game is $4.99, and the third game, being a relatively more recent release, it is $12.49, so a little bit more expensive. If you want to start off with Banner Saga 1, that is absolutely fine. I just implore you to play these games in sequential order. Do not jump in with Banner Saga 3. Play Banner Saga 1, and it is a fantastic series. When talking about this game, I often mention how I'm very surprised that it's not a bigger franchise than it is. It really has every element of a strategy RPG that you would want to make a high-quality game. An awesome art style, a great narrative, compelling tactical gameplay. It's got all of that. However, it hasn't really resonated at a mainstream level. Now that it's available for $4.99 for the first game, I'm telling you, give it a look, and if you want to take my word for it, I would just get the trilogy outright. $19.99 is great. However, play through the first game, play through the second game, see how you like it, and then the third game being a little bit more expensive, I wouldn't hold it against you if you did wait for that to be $4.99 as well, but at the very least, do give the first title a look. Next up, here's a super chill game in ABZÜ. It is 60% off for $7.99. If you're a little bit tired of games that are super challenging, maybe a little bit too thought-provoking, trying to be a little bit too high IQ for their own good, ABZÜ is the kind of game that I would definitely check out. Not to say it's not thought-provoking at all, however, it's a very relaxing, very chill experience, and it's from the artistic mind behind Journey and Flowers, so you know that there is a level of thought put behind this game, but at the same time, if you just want to jump in, relax, you can absolutely do that at the same time, and there's not this intricate narrative that you really have to get invested into. It's a beautiful underwater adventure that evokes the dream of diving. Immerse yourself in a vibrant ocean world full of mystery and bursting with color and life. Perform fluid acrobats as the diver using graceful swimming controls, discover hundreds of unique species based on real creatures, and form a powerful connection with the abundant sea life. $19.99 for ABZÜ may be seen as a little bit too expensive, but at $7.99, it's a great buy. And again, if you do want a game that's super chill, super relaxing, you're gonna find exactly that here. And the last deal from the totally digital sale, I do want to give a mention to Furi, which is 50% off for $9.99. I believe the definitive edition with some extra content is also on sale. That might be $10.99 or $11.99. If you do want to stick to that under $10 threshold, then Furi, the base game for $9.99, is a good buy. Now, there are some issues with the game, most notably that it is incredibly challenging. This is a game that's going to have you pull your hair out at some point, I guarantee you that. However, if you do like a more challenging game, the complete opposite of ABZÜ, Furi will be right up your alley. It's got a slick presentation style as well, and a combination of a variety of different gameplay styles, and all of that is complemented by a great soundtrack as well. At this point, Furi is a few years old. It released all the way back in 2016, and I do believe at some point it was a PlayStation Plus title, but obviously that was long ago. $9.99 for the game, I would say, is a pretty good buy, so check that out. Okay, moving on from that, now let's transition on over to the EA Publisher Sale, and as I'm going to mention, just to reiterate again, all of these games are available with EA Access, which is $5 a month or $30 a year. With that being said, let's kick off the deals. Burnout Paradise Remastered is 75% off for $4.99. What a great buy for Burnout Paradise Remastered. This is a game that when it released back last year, how long has it been? It's already been like 18 months, but prior to the release of Burnout Paradise Remastered, I was like, man, this game is releasing for kind of a hefty price point at $40. Well, now, at an eighth of the original price point, that complaint is no longer there at all. For $5, it's a great buy. And the thing with Burnout Paradise, yes, this is a game that's, what, over 10 years old at this point? Over 11 years. I think we're heading into 12 years old. It released back in January of 2008. To give you guys an idea of how old it is, and a game being that old, yes, it's going to have some dated elements, but the positives definitely outweigh the negatives in Burnout Paradise, and if you want a high-octane, no-nonsense arcade racer with a lot of crashing, a lot of destruction, you're going to find exactly that in Burnout Paradise, and that's all complemented by some great music as well. Depending on your musical taste, however, it does have a variety of different songs, and you can adjust it so only specific songs play, so that's really nice. You got cool songs like My Curse by Kill Switch Engage. There's a song called Friction in there that's really good. I really dug the soundtrack out of Burnout Paradise Remastered, and that, again, just complements that high-octane gameplay that you're getting right from the get-go. $5 for it is a great buy, so give that a look. Next up, Dragon Age Inquisition Game of the Year Edition is 75% off for $9.99. At this point, I know that BioWare isn't everyone's favorite studio after the release of Mass Effect Andromeda as well as Anthem. That has to be two of the worst back-to-back releases for a top-tier development studio, at least once a top-tier development studio that I've ever seen. But going back to Dragon Age Inquisition, which was released back in 2014, this was a rather good game. Would I say it's at the high-quality caliber of a typical BioWare release? You know, the BioWare heyday of a Mass Effect 2 or a Jade Empire? Not necessarily, but Dragon Age Inquisition definitely offers a lot to like, and with the Game of the Year Edition, that additional DLC content, you're talking about an experience that's going to span a long time, north of 100 hours if you so see fit. You can invest that amount of time into Dragon Age Inquisition, and of course, Dragon Age 4 is in development right now, although seemingly it's going through a little bit of a rocky development period. We'll see how it turns out, but I'm hoping for the best out of that one. What we do know is Inquisition is a rather good game, and $9.99 for it is pretty good. Next up, I do want to give a shout to EA Sports UFC 3, which is 70% off for $5.99. What a great deal on this, and coming off of UFC 242 yesterday, I thought it would be a great idea to mention this game. $6 for the game is rather good, and the UFC games aren't really groundbreaking in any sense. However, if you're not even a fan of the sport, if you just want a fighting game you can mess around with, UFC 3 does offer a lot of fun, and even little things like the glitches that are in this game are absolutely hilarious. Maybe at a full $60 price point, I could see why you would be hesitant, but you're talking about 10% of its initial cost, and this isn't a game that's even that old. It released back in February of 2018. We haven't gotten to UFC 4 at this point, so this is the latest release, so $6 for this would say it's rather good, and I would definitely give it a pickup. Next up, here's another game that I always go to bat for. Titanfall 2, the Ultimate Edition, is 75% off for $7.49. What a great deal on this. Of course, Titanfall 2 was one of the criminally underrated games of this generation. EA just butchered the marketing of this game, and that's really been the story of EA this generation. How you could think that releasing a game like Titanfall 2 right around the same time as Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, a few months after the release of Overwatch, and right around the same time as another EA-published first-person shooter in Battlefield 1, how they thought that was a good idea is beyond me. Titanfall 2 would have been served much better if it's on early 2017 release rather than a late 2016 release, but hey, that's something I can complain about going to the end of time, because it's so unfortunate that Titanfall 2 had to go through that, because the game itself is awesome. It's a sizable improvement upon the first game, a pretty good single-player campaign, and the multiplayer has so much more depth to it. Respawn has stayed relatively committed to the game, even when there wasn't a lot of people playing the game. content kept getting added, and thankfully it did see a little bit of a player base jolt after the release of Apex Legends. People just generally wanted to go back and play Titanfall 2. The player base is still relatively small, however, with the decent single player campaign, with the fact that the multiplayer is so good, I would still give it a strong recommendation at $7.49, and hopefully at some point we do get a Titanfall 3, and hopefully it could be marketed a little better, hopefully it could be released at a better time period, but at this point that's what I'm living off of with EA, a lot of hopefullys. And lastly, I do want to give a shout to Unravel 2, which is 75% off for $5. This released back in June of 2018, so not all too old. It actually released, I believe, on the same day as the EA press conference. They revealed the game and then released it on the same day, which I've never thought was a good idea. I mean, we saw how the Sega Saturn turned out with that methodology, but nonetheless, Unravel 2 is a great game, and of course, with the game being stylized as Unravel and then 2, co-op play is a big element to the game, so if you do want to play it with a friend, that is going to make the experience that much better. If you do want to go in solo, that option is there as well. Unravel is one of those games that maybe a $19.99 price point is a little bit too high. I mean, I'm just cheap as hell, but at $5, the game is a great buy, and it does have local cooperative play as well. So that is great, and that $5 price point makes it all the more enticing, so definitely would give that a recommendation if you're looking for a quality platformer with some depth to its gameplay as well, and with a co-op layer, that makes it even better. So that's gonna conclude this video. Again, I know some of you guys were a little bit disappointed by the Totally Digital sale as well as the EA Publisher sale, but some great deals. I mean, how can you go wrong with The Wolf Among Us? It is tremendous. Guacamelee 2 is awesome. Banner Saga is a game I'm gonna go to bat for until the end of time. ABZÜ is super chill. Furi is challenging but a lot of fun, and those EA games are what they are. They are relatively good and at great prices. I know for some of you guys, the titles out of the Totally Digital sale, they're not those big budget titles. You know, Guacamelee 2, for some of you guys, you're gonna look at it and be like, this isn't the game for me, but if you're into Metroidvanias, it's an awesome game. Wolf Among Us, if you're into a story-driven game, it's awesome. Banner Saga, if you want a great tactical RPG, it is awesome. And I can go on and on about all of those games, but that's going to conclude this video. Do sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below, and links to everything will be in the description box below, so that'll make it easy for you guys to check out all the games for yourself. Sound off with all of your thoughts. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.